Let's get a read on things with the Dow up about 118 points. Many of those so-called FANG stocks are coming back today, but not so robustly. They just stopped what had been a perilous just drop. But we'll keep an eye on that with Dave Maney. We've got FEN AM co-host Lauren Simonetti as well. Lauren, you've been reporting on this and this idea that the markets want to see desperately a rebound, so they watch all these technical factors like the S&P moving below a 200-day average and all of that. But how much are they worried about the Dow having and all the markets having to make a rebound today?
Let's get technical. We are just above that 200-day moving average for the S&P 500. It's been 2.5 years before yesterday, before we went below it. So that determines the long-term momentum of the stock market. And that's a big question mark right now, because you had last year this tailwind for these big multinationals and everyday Americans of tax reform and a tax cut. And now with the threat of trade and these big and just a few tech companies that have such an outsized influence on your portfolio and on the markets overall having such sway that can overcome what we might have seen more of in terms of the tax benefit front.
Dave, how do you play this when it's so volatile? I mean, we talk about volatility so much that I wanted to revisit what is the definition of volatility. I guess it represents a swing up or down of more than 1%, whatever the market average is. Already this year, we've had twice as many of such days as we had all of last year. So I guess you have to get used to that. But what do you tell your clients, your customers? How do you keep them calm?
Well, Neil, no secret. I think it's A, urge caution, and B, patience. You don't want to make anyone who's making singular stock bets on a narrow field is not being very smart. And even more so, as you point out, in an era where we have a government that thinks it can begin to target individual companies or individual industries very narrowly at a moment's notice, that is not a good environment to make individual stock bets. It's the old standards of patience and diversification.
But by that, I just want to follow up. I mean, a lot of people look at Amazon and say, all right, I've held this stock for a couple of years. I've quintupled my money, so I don't want to risk spoiling that. And so they get out. And it's a herd mentality that invariably, comes too soon or is overwrought. But the history of such events is that they overplay themselves. What do you think, for example, when it comes to Amazon?
Well, specifically with Amazon, I mean, that's a company that I think can be accused of overreach. It is really hard. It always has been very hard to be good at everything. That's a company that says, I'm going to be good at retail. I'm going to be good at delivery. I'm going to be good at health insurance now. I'm going to be good at media. I don't buy it. That is not what the internet enables: specialization and collaboration, not monopolization. So if you want to know my view on that individual one, it's not a bet I'd make.
Interesting. Lauren, the other drama today is when Spotify comes out, and there are already indications it's going to be appreciably above what was thought to be the opening price. It could be 150, it could be 160, but there is a difference to how this is being handled. It's not your typical IPO. In fact, it's not formally an IPO. Why is there so much excitement around this?
It's a direct listing, and right now the price we're hearing is between 165 and 170, expected to open. So it's I spoke to a bunch of the analysts this morning over by the Post. They said probably after 12. I heard a lot of 2 p.m.s. As to your question, when tech, I mean, if you look at those FANG stocks, they lost almost $80 billion in market cap yesterday. So this is the day after. You're looking for a recovery, and you have a smaller tech stock trying to become public. Is there appetite for that? Because if there's panic selling in the tech sector, would that hit a company like Spotify, right? Spotify needs to, make more money, but they also need to manipulate the industry a little bit differently. They have to do the whole new media thing, but also appease the record labels and keep their 71 million paying subscribers happy, right? And maybe become more like a Netflix in the sense of getting original content to those subscribers. So we are waiting for Spotify to open 165, 170 as of now.
Amazing. A direct listing, as they like to call it here. We'll keep an eye on that.
Rare.
Lauren, thank you very, very much.
Sure.
It certainly goes without saying, Dave, thank you very, very much.